further advise Subhuti Roy, begin chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and when your chanting is almost pure, all your sinful reactions will go away. After you chant perfectly, you will get shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Purport: the 10 kinds of offenses should be considered. In the beginning, when one is initiated into the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, there are naturally many offenses. Therefore, the devotee should very carefully try to avoid these offenses and chant purely. This does not mean that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is sometimes pure and sometimes impure. Rather, the chanter is impure due to material contamination. He has to purify himself so that the holy names will be perfectly effective. Chanting the holy name of the Lord inoffensively will help one get immediate shelter at Krishna's lotus feet. This means that by chanting purely, one will immediately be situated on the transcendental platform. We should note, however, that according to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions, one should not wait to purify himself before chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Whatever our condition may be, we should begin chanting immediately. By the power of the Hare Krishna mantra, we will gradually be relieved from all material contamination and will get shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, the ultimate goal of life. From the Madhya Lila 25.199. And in the course of cultivating Krishna consciousness, there are various obstacles that come because of my previous involvement and present involvement with the material world. And therefore, we have to have somewhere to hold on. And the primary way in which we hold on to the process of Krishna consciousness, which means to hold on to Krishna primarily, because just by remembering Krishna, all other kinds of faults are dissolved immediately. There's a way in which, if one's pure or impure, nāmāparādha-yuktānāṁ pavitro va sarvāvasthāṁ gatopi va smaret puṇḍarīkākṣaṁ sambandha-gyān. If you somehow or other remember Krishna, then whether you're in impure state or not, you'll become pure by remembering him. And the best way to remember Krishna is by chanting his holy name. The conundrum comes when I feel that I'm so impure that I can barely chant. So how do we get out of that rut? The śāstra says, nāmāparādha-yuktānāṁ nāmāny haranty agham, aviśrānti-prayuktāni tāny evārtha-karāṇi. That go on chanting somehow or other, keep that vibration going. And by the power of the vibration, then we'll get more strength and we'll also rise above the 3 modes of material nature. When we're taking off in an airplane or a rocket or in a project, the energy in the beginning has to be concentrated so we can get off the ground. So similarly, when we start chanting, when we're in the beginning stages of devotional service, there's more pressure from the atmosphere. It's difficult to get out. So we have to have association, we have to hear sambandha-gyān, and we have to try really hard to focus our minds and to chant the holy names without offense. When we come to the point of nishta and ruchi, then we're taking off from the ground, leaving the atmosphere of the 3 modes of material nature. Mamcha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate, sagunan samatityaitam brahma bhuyaya kalpate. And the chanting will become easier because we have taste and standing in devotional service. So whatever situation of life we're in, we should take shelter of the holy name. Whatever condition I think I'm in, there's no disqualification. I have to go on chanting. Somehow or other fix the mind on Krishna, which means somehow or other go on chanting Hare Krishna. So let's take that to heart and make a full effort to hear every syllable of the holy name now for the next 35 minutes or so, and then we can check back in to see how it went. Does this sound okay? Okay. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Here's the next installment of Nectar from Srila Prabhupada's teachings on the Holy Name from the Nectar of Devotion in the section Further Aspects of Transcendental Service. Prabhupada writes, the importance of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is very strongly stressed in the second canto, first chapter, verse 11 of Srimad Bhagavatam in the following way. Shukadeva Goswami tells Maharaj Parikshit, my dear king, if one is spontaneously attached to the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is to be understood that he has attained the highest perfectional stage. It is specifically mentioned that the karmis who are aspiring after the fruitive results of their activities, the salvationists who are aspiring to become one with the Supreme Person, and the yogis who are aspiring after mystic perfections can achieve the results of all perfectional stages simply by chanting the Mahamantra. Shukadeva uses the word nirnitam, which means it has already been decided. He was a liberated soul and therefore could not accept anything which was not conclusive. So Shukadeva Goswami especially stresses that it has already been concluded that one who has come to the stage of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra with determination and steadiness must be considered to have already passed the trials of fruitive activities, mental speculation, and mystic yoga. The same thing is confirmed in the Adi Purana by Kṛṣṇa. While addressing Arjuna, he said, anyone who is engaged in chanting my transcendental name must be considered to be always associating with me. And I may tell you frankly that for such a devotee, I become easily purchased. In the Padma Purana also it is stated, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is present only on the lips of a person who has for many births worshipped Vasudeva. It is further said in the Padma Purana, there is no difference between the holy name of the Lord and the Lord himself. As such, the holy name is as perfect as the Lord himself in fullness, purity, and eternity. The holy name is not a material sound vibration, nor has it any material contamination. The holy name cannot, therefore, be chanted offenselessly by one who has failed to purify his senses. In other words, materialistic senses cannot properly chant the holy names of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But by adopting this chanting process, one is given a chance to actually purify himself so that he may very soon chant offenselessly. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended that everyone chant the Hare Krishna mantra just to cleanse the dust from the heart. If the dust of the heart is cleansed away, then one can actually understand the importance of the holy name. For persons who are not inclined to clean the dust from their hearts and who want to keep things as they are, it is not possible to derive the transcendental result of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. One should therefore be encouraged to develop his service attitude toward the Lord, because this will help him to chant without any offense. And so, under the guidance of a spiritual master, the disciple is trained to render service and at the same time chant the Hare Krishna mantra. As soon as one develops his spontaneous service attitude, he can immediately understand the transcendental nature of the holy name, of the names of the Mahamantra. Thus spake Srila Prabhupada from the Nectar of Devotion, Further Aspects of Transcendental Service. Let's just hear any realizations you had from your chanting in the last half hour or so, and anything that you heard from the śāstra that you think is important for your practice.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I just wanted to share a story that happened this morning. I got woken up today by two Russian devotees calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning just to say hi. One of them is an older man, so he can hardly speak any English. And then another one, he translates for him. And I developed a relationship with him when I was in Mayapur. And the only thing that the older man, who can hardly speak any English, said was, when I chant, I chant. And so I remembered that this morning, and I just made that my sankalpa. Whenever my mind would try to drift away, okay, that's a good thought, but right now when I chant, I chant.
Ooh, I like that. Very nice. Very simple, good mantra to stay focused. When I chant, I chant. Excellent. Thank you so much. Let's hear some more realizations. They're hot off the presses. They're very powerful. Go ahead, Shraddha.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. I had a late night last night, and so today morning I was just thinking that how will I even sit and chant? And then I heard you say that whatever condition that you are in, you must start chanting immediately. And then, so that was very powerful and helped me chant. And I was also along the lines of thinking along the lines of Devavita that when I chant, because thoughts of other things, work, etc., were coming to my mind. I was like, no, this is not the time. This is your japa time. You sit down and you chant. So
Nice.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for that.
Fantastic. It's reaching tattoo status almost, I think. When I chant, I chant. Okay,
Hare
who
Krishna,
else? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I was remembering what the Prabhu was mentioning. I remembered a quote, a statement that Radheshyam Prabhu made in his class. He mentioned that when I'm eating, I should be eating. When I'm, I have to practice this all day because I'm a multitasker. Usually I do two things at one time. So he was saying that it is very helpful to do only one thing at one time. So your mind get trained so that when you sit down to chant, it will know that, this is time to chant. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, Shruti Kirti Prabhu says that Prabhupada would sit by himself when he took prasadam, and he would honor in a very focused way. He'd take a prasadam. He wasn't doing anything else but meditating on the prasadam, seemingly. He was fixed in that mode of honoring the prasadam quietly. And that's an example of what you're talking
Hare
about.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So I had a question from what you read this morning, Prabhu, where it is said that all the faults are dissolved when we chant the holy name. By the power of the holy name, our faults are dissolved in that. But there's still the reactions come though, right? Like, how do we understand like faults being dissolved in the real sense? Because we also suffer.
Reactions appear to come, as is mentioned in the story of Ajamil. He chanted. He didn't know he was chanting to clear sins. He didn't think of it that way. He was calling his son. But Prabhupada mentions in that section on the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that when one chants the holy name of the Lord, because that person becomes freed from sinful reactions, but then the question comes, how is it that Ajamil went on sinning even after that? And how is it that those reactions weren't the same as before he chanted? And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, yes, it does appear that he went on committing sinful activities, which is a result of past sins, which compels one to go on sinning. He said, however, that is like the difference between a snake with teeth and a snake without teeth. So once one chants the holy name of the Lord and becomes freed from the reactions of sinful life, then the snake is the snake with no teeth. Mm-hmm. So although it appears to be biting and it's still making that striking pose, and it's still maybe even striking, the effect isn't there because the fangs have been removed. Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajan. Devotional service is so powerful that Ambarish Maharaj was able to surpass the Gyanis, the yogis, the karmis. Devotional service is so powerful that one achieves the result of everything. And that includes clearing oneself from sinful reactions. One shouldn't take for granted. That's one of the offenses, to develop that attitude that I can go on sinning because of that. That creates another offense. But if minus that, the fact that there are still some scars within our mind that are pushing us in a certain direction, it will very soon be cleared. Krishna says in Gita, Shri Pram Bhavati Dharmatma Shashvas Shanti Nagachati. Actually, he's saying effectually in that verse, it happens immediately. It's translated as very soon, but also Prabhupada says it happens right away because of the power of devotional service.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
What
Krishna.
other realizations or things that you hear that you can report back that will help us all, please?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So you read in the morning about Subuddhi Rai, like Mahaprabhu telling him to chant constantly. So just that pastime came to my mind where, Subuddhi Rai, he was converted to Islam because, somebody water was sprinkled from a Muslim spot on his face. So he got converted. And then when he went to Vrindavan, he wanted to counteract that. He consulted so many people and everyone gave him different kinds of advice and he got confused. Somebody asked him to drink ghee and go hot ghee and give up his life. And another person said something else. And he was so confused. And then he took shelter of Mahaprabhu, who gave him the advice to constantly chant the names of the Lord. And that's how he got saved from this, turmoil. So that I was just remembering that pastime.
Yes, thank you for remembering that. In one of the nectar verses that we sing, there's a mention of how there's many conflicting, confusing philosophies in the age of Kali Yuga, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu covers all those by the simple process of devotional service. And there's another instance with Tapana Mishra, who's in a confused state because he had read too many books. He read about everything, all the different processes, and therefore he wasn't sure exactly what to do. Paralysis by analysis. And then he had a dream that this Nimai Pandit is coming to your town, you should go meet him. So he did. And when he met Nimai Pandit, he surrendered and said, I'm confused, what should I do? And Nimai Pandit said, chant Hare Krishna. This is the essence of everything. Nikila Shrutimali Ratnamala Duti Nirajita Pada Pankajanta Aimukta Kaliru Pasyamanam Paritastam Harinam Samshrayami. All the Vedas are pointing to this. Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. They're pointing to this one item, which is that you should chant the holy names of the Lord. All perfection is there. It's the pinnacle of all practices, just by chanting Hare Krishna. So then he became clear about his path in life. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inexplicably sent him to Varanasi, where a bunch of Mayavadis lived. The author says that then nobody knew at that time that Mahaprabhu had the intention of going there, and he would meet Tapana Mishra later there in Varanasi when he went to convert Prakashananda, the Saraswati, and the Mayavadis. It comes back to the non-confusing path of the Hare Krishna movement, which is to follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the great acharyas and just chant Hare Krishna. Couple more. Subhadra.
The image of going through the atmosphere and making a big concerted effort is inspiring, but I just feel like my whole life I'm spending on the runway and I just can't get off the runway.
Well, it may feel like that, but you also have to take the words of the Shastra, which are otherworldly. They speak to us from a wiser perspective than we may have. And they teach us that if you're in the process, even if you do it a little bit, neha bikramana shosti pratyavayona vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Krishna says, even if you do a tiny, tiny little bit of this, you'll be free from the most dangerous type of fear. What to speak if you're leaning in, which is what you're doing. So understand from the Shastra, of course, we always feel like, oh, I'm not making much progress. And Mahaprabhu says this is a conundrum for devotees because the more advanced they become, the more they think I'm unqualified. Nonetheless, we can hear from Shastra that if I'm in the process, and especially I'm following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas to the best of my ability, you're on your way. It's guaranteed, in fact, that you're going to go back to Godhead. Prabhupada says in the light of the Bhagavad, even if you change your mind and you say, forget it, I'm not doing it, you'll be dragged forcibly by the power of the devotional service that you've already done. So might as well cooperate and just go for it. You're a lot further than you think. Hare Krishna. How about one more?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, I listened to yesterday's class like gardener, so I really liked it the way you pointed out. It's like the chanting is like watering the rain. So by chanting we can plug the by rain, then we can plug the weeds quickly. So
Yes, that's
really
true. Yeah, good to see you. Hare Krishna.
Good to see you.
This is an important point that when it's just after the rain, then it's really easy to pull the weeds out. Otherwise, they become hardened in the soil. So when we have association of devotees and when we have the transcendental vibration going on around us, then when you try to pull the weeds, they come out easily. And so if we can keep ourselves in the environment of that rain, always hearing in the association of devotees, and then we give a little tug, just a little tug to those weeds, they'll come out and we'll have the relief of clearing out the garden from these nutrient-sucking entities who come in and take our attention, take our life blood away from devotional service. So thank you for remembering that and the metaphor that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us of the garden. So let's chant a few more minutes before we take a short intermission before our reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you, everybody, for joining in for the most important of all devotional activities, chanting the holy name, and especially it's nice to do it together. Thank you for sharing your realizations. Please keep the transcendental vibration going, and I will see you on the other side at about 23 minutes after the hour for the Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarusha Kripasinabheva Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Anantakoti Vaishnavini Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.